Good morning, everybody. It's Miss Cackleman. I'm here on this rainy Friday morning, still in my PJs, and y'all just cuddle up and listen to this story. It's one of my most favorite stories. It's Amelia Bedelia. And if you've read Amelia Bedelia, you know that she just does the silliest things. She's confident in herself, and she thinks her way is the right way, and she just doesn't understand other people sometimes. And she's hilarious. So I have the quiz number, and I'll share it with you at the end, and you can take an AR quiz on it. So here we go. Oh, Amelia Bedelia, your first day of work, and I can't be there, but I made a list for you. You do just what the list says Mrs. Rogers. Mrs. Rogers got into the car with Mr. Rogers. They drove away. My, what nice folks. I'm gonna like working here, said Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia went inside. Such a grand house. There must be rich folks. But I must get to work. Here I stand just looking, and me with a whole list of things to do. Amelia Bedelia stood there a minute longer. I think I'll make a surprise for them. I'll make lemon meringue pie. I do make good pies. So Amelia Bedelia went into the kitchen. She put a little of this and a pinch of that into a bowl, and she mixed and she rolled. Soon her pie was ready to go into the oven. There, said Amelia Bedelia, that's done. Now let's see what the list says. Amelia Bedelia read, change the towels in the green bathroom. Amelia Bedelia found the green bathroom. Those towels are very nice. Why change them? She thought. Then Amelia Bedelia remembered what Mrs. Rogers had said. She must do just what the list told her. Oh, well, all right, said Amelia Bedelia. Now, hold on. When somebody tells us to change the towels, that probably means just to put different ones on there. But listen to what Amelia Bedelia does. Amelia Bedelia got some scissors, and she snipped a little here and a little there, and she changed those towels. Uh-oh. There, said Amelia Bedelia. She looked at the list again. Dust the furniture. Now, if you've ever dusted the furniture, that means to take something and wipe the dust off of the furniture. But listen to what she does. Did you ever hear tell of such a silly thing? In my house, we undust the furniture. Oh, but to each his own way. Amelia Bedelia took one last look at the bathroom, and she saw a big box with the words dusting powder on it. Uh-oh. Well, look at that. A special powder to dust with, explained Amelia Bedelia. So Amelia Bedelia dusted the furniture. Oh, that should be dusty enough. My, how nice it smells. She's making a mess. The next thing said, draw the drapes when the sun comes in. Okay, so draw the drapes just means you close the drapes. That way the sun does not come in the room. Oh, but she looked up, and the sun was coming in, and Amelia Bedelia looked at the list again. Draw the drapes? That's what it says. I'm not much of a hand at drawing, but I'll try. So Amelia Bedelia sat right down, and she actually drew a picture of the drapes. Oh, she just doesn't understand sometimes. Amelia Bedelia marked off about the drapes. Now what? Put the lights out when you finish in the living room. Now, put the lights out means just turn the lights off. Amelia Bedelia thought about this a minute, and she switched off the lights, and then she carefully unscrewed each bulb. Why is she unscrewing all of them? And Amelia Bedelia actually put the lights out. She put them on the clothesline. So those things need to be aired out too, just like pillows and babies? Oh, I do have a lot to learn. Oh, goodness. My pie! Explained Amelia Bedelia. She hurried to the kitchen. Oh, just right, she said. And she took the pie out of the oven and put it on the table to cool. Then she looked at the list. Measure 2 cups of rice. That's next, said Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia found 2 cups, and she filled them with rice, and Amelia Bedelia actually measured it. We're learning about measuring in first grade. This is not the right way to measure the rice. Amelia Bedelia laughed. These folks do want me to do funny things, and then she poured the rice back into the container. The meat market will deliver a steak and a chicken. Please trim the fat before you put the steak in the icebox. And please dress the chicken. Now just think about that for a second. What do you think she's going to do with the chicken? When the meat arrived, Amelia Bedelia opened the bag and she looked at the steak for a long time. Oh yes, she said, that will do nicely. Amelia Bedelia got some lace and bits of ribbon, and Amelia Bedelia trimmed the fat before she put the steak in the icebox. Now I must dress this chicken. I wonder if he wants to be a he chicken or a she chicken, said Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia went right to work, and soon the chicken was finished. Oh my goodness. What is she doing? Amelia Bedelia heard the door open, and the folks are back, she said, and she rushed out to meet them. Amelia Bedelia, why are the lights outside? Asked Mr. Rogers. The list said to put the lights out, said Amelia Bedelia. I didn't say to hang them back in. It didn't say to bring them back in. Oh, I do hope they didn't get aired out too long. Oh my goodness, she's hilarious. Amelia Bedelia, the sun will fade the furniture. I ask you to draw the drapes, said Mrs. Rogers. I did, see, said Amelia Bedelia, and she held up her picture. Oh my goodness. Then Mrs. Rogers saw the furniture. The furniture, she cried. Did I dust it well enough? Asked Miss Amelia Bedelia. That's such a nice dusting powder. Oh my goodness. Too much dust everywhere. Mr. Rogers went to wash his hands. I say, he called. These are very unusual towels. Mrs. Rogers dashed into the bathroom. Oh, my best towels, she said. Didn't I change them enough? Asked Amelia Bedelia. Look, she cut out a face on that one. Mrs. Rogers went to the kitchen. I'll cook the dinner. Where's the rice I asked you to measure? Oh, I put it back in the container, but I remember it measured 4.5 inches, said Amelia Bedelia. Was the meat delivered? Asked Mrs. Rogers. Oh, yes, said Amelia Bedelia, and I trimmed the fat just like you said. It does look nice. That means like kind of decorate it. When you trim things for Christmas, you decorate things. Mrs. Rogers rushed to the icebox and she opened it. Lace! Ribbons! Oh, dear, said Mrs. Rogers. The chicken? You dressed the chicken? Asked Mrs. Rogers. Yes, and I found the nicest box to put him in, said Amelia Bedelia. Box? Explained Mrs. Rogers. Mrs. Rogers hurried over to the box, and she lifted the lid, and there lay a chicken, and he was just as dressed as he could be. That is hilarious. Mrs. Rogers was angry. She was very angry, and she opened her mouth, and Mrs. Rogers meant to tell Amelia Bedelia that she was fired. But before she could get the words out, Mr. Rogers put something in her mouth. It was so good, Mrs. Rogers forgot about being angry. Remember what it was? Lemon meringue pie, she explained. I made it to surprise you, said Amelia Bedelia happily. So right then and there, Mr. and Mrs. Rogers decided that Amelia Bedelia must stay. And so she did. Mrs. Rogers learned to say, undust the furniture, unlight the lights, close the drapes, and things like that. Mr. Rogers didn't care if Amelia Bedelia trimmed all the steaks with lace. All he cared about was having her there to make lemon meringue pie. The end. So the quiz number for this book is 5453. And see if you can take an AR test on it today. And we're going to be stuck inside probably today because of the rain. Make a fort. It'll be fun. I think we're going to do that at our house. Love y'all big. Have the best day.